Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I have a few introductions of my own I wouldn't mind offering up in advance of just a few thoughts I have to share with you today. They're colleagues of mine. Our government's benefited from just a little bit of good luck over 3.5 years, but we've also benefited mightily from the fact that we have a great team that goes well beyond my office or the cabinet, right to all of our MLAs. And so, if you'll permit me, I'd like to introduce the ones that have joined us today. I think Warren Mitchelson is here, MLA for Moose Jaw North. We'll just hold our applause. Warren, there's Warren there. The caucus chair, really the woman that runs our outfit, Doreen Eagles, is also the MLA for Estevan, is here to give us a wave. Lyle Stewart, a strong and clarion voice for the energy industry within our caucus and government, also vice chair of the Treasury Board and known as Dr. No. Good to have him here from Thunder Creek. The host MLA, I think one of the youngest ministers in the history of the province of Saskatchewan, is your MLA for Weyburn Big Money, and a great minister of the environment, Dustin Duncan, is here. I think, I'm a little biased, but I think the best Minister of Energy and Resources in the nation, from Kindersley, the Honourable Bill Boyd, is here as well. We also have the Honourable Lanny MacDonald, Minister for the most setups for Daryl Sipper, is joining us down here. Your Worship, that button is here, and we appreciate the partnership and the working relationship we have with the City Council and the Mayor of Weyburn. Good to see you. I've got a few words to say before we get to what I think everyone's waiting for, frankly, the induction in honoring those leaders in this industry. The very first thing I would like to say is what I said 2 years ago when I had the honor of accepting the invitation to speak here, and that is thank you. We don't do that enough in government. We don't take every opportunity we should to say to the industry that does so much and builds so much for this province. We don't take enough opportunities to say thank you for that and what we do. And so on behalf of the government and therefore on behalf of a grateful province, we want to thank the industry that's gathered here and all of those that you represent for not just the contributions you make in terms of direct economic contributors as employers and investors, but all the other things you do, including supporting the Stars Choir a moment ago from the oil show here. We just are very grateful for all of that, and there's many, many worthy causes out there that benefit you from your philanthropy, and the choir is a good example. I've never ever heard a choir start out with a Stevie Ray Vaughan song, and they did it today. It was pretty remarkable. So thank you. I want to share some oil facts with you that you'll probably know better than anyone on the government side, frankly, but I want to share them anyway to set up a few other comments that I want to make. Recently, the oil and gas land sales in the province have been very strong. The last sale, the April land sale, was very, very strong, the third highest on record. Last year, the southeast part of our province accounted for 70% of provincial land sale activity, and now we see strength in the Lower Shawnee with this last April sale. 1,132 oil wells were drilled in the southeast, 42% of the 2,730 wells drilled in the province. The Petroleum Services Association of Canada predicts 2011 will see an 11% increase in oil and gas drilling, or about 3,075 wells. If this prediction holds, this will be the highest percentage increase in wells drilled among the 4 producing provinces. Alberta drilling is predicted to go up by 3%, British Columbia up by 5%. So far, this year, notwithstanding the weather, ladies and gentlemen, our numbers are that oil well drilling is up just over 20% compared to the same period last year. Industry investment in new exploration and development in our province last year totaled $3.3 billion, representing 16% of Saskatchewan's total gross domestic product. The industry set a new record for horizontal wells drilled in the province last year. The 210 figure was 1,531, an 88% increase over 209. Price factors at work there, no doubt. And 13% higher than the previous record set in 2008, where price factors were not at work. In 2010, Saskatchewan's oil and gas sector accounted for 29,275 direct and indirect jobs. That was a 7% increase over 2009. The combined value of oil and gas sales last year was estimated at $10.5 billion, up from $9.6 billion in 2009. What do all of those facts mean? All of those stats? Here's what they mean for the province of Saskatchewan. They mean a children's hospital. We were the last province, second last province in the Dominion of Canada to have it. It takes considerable resources to be able to build it, $200 million if anyone's counting. That's what this sector means to the province. It means a $250 million 5-year housing plan to deal with some of the pressures of growth. That's what it means. It means a 35% increase in child care spaces in the last 3.5 years in the province of Saskatchewan. That's what it means. It means record investments in highways, a 57% increase in highway spending in our first 4 years relative to the 4 years prior to the last election, paid for by, in large measure, those statistics that I just read. It means a balanced budget. It means debt payment. A reduction in the general debt of the province of Saskatchewan of almost 44% in 3.5 years. That's what the strength of this industry means, combined certainly with other things in the province. But what a powerful engine of all of these positive attributes of Saskatchewan your industry is. It means lower taxes. It means 2 reductions in the education property tax over the last 3.5 years. So a lot of agriculture producers are looking at an 80% reduction in education tax in just 3.5 years. It means cutting in half the small business tax rate, as we did in the last budget, from 4.5% down to 2%. And it means income tax relief. 114,000 fewer low and middle income people in the province of Saskatchewan on our tax rolls at all. That's what this industry means. That's what growth for the province means. In fact, Nova Scotia's government actually commissioned a tax to GDP analysis of the country. They're a new government, and we need to find out where Nova Scotia ranks in terms of a measure of taxes. And so they came up with an analysis that did link taxes to GDP, and there was some bad news for Nova Scotia's government. That the news was that they had the highest taxes per GDP in the country. Guess who had the lowest? Not Alberta. The province of Saskatchewan had the lowest. We are able to achieve these things not because the government's good, not because the cabinet's good. We're able to achieve these things because of the resources we have and because of the entrepreneurial force that all of you bring to bear on those resources so that we can create this Saskatchewan advantage. And that's precisely what it is. Do you know how we're going to keep the advantage going, ladies and gentlemen? I've got 3 elements of a plan that I want to share with you briefly this afternoon. First, the first part of our plan to keep the advantage, we're not going to jack around with royalties in the province of Saskatchewan. And here I'm going to be just a little bit partisan. And I know you'll forgive me for that because it's an election year this year, as Del so helpfully pointed out just moments ago. But there is a debate in this province today on the issue of royalties, and it's not just about potash. Because our opponent has said, as of December 13, 2010, just 5 months ago, said that a different kind of government would institute quota review of all royalties in the province, whether it's potash, uranium, oil, or gas. Notwithstanding the impact of that review we saw next door. Part of the Saskatchewan advantage we have here today is because they pursued that next door. I have characterized some of these ideas as a little out there. I've been criticized in the media for calling them crazy. So I'm not going to do that today. I'm not going to say they're hunting with Dick Cheney crazy or anything like that. But I will say this. Right now we have a balanced budget in the province, a surplus budget on a summary financial statement basis, so we're getting a return from our resources. We're making record investments in healthcare with more work to be done, certainly on the doctor's side. In the case of Weyburn, there needs to be, at some point, a hospital in the city of Weyburn. Mayor Button and Dustin Duncan, we understand that. But we're making record investments in healthcare and in education and in highways. The budget is balanced while we're reducing taxes and paying off debt. I think we're getting a pretty good return on our resources, and in the bargain, that royalty stability is creating jobs in the province and is adding to our population now 1,050,232. Not that anyone's counting. That's a record number of people in Saskatchewan today. We need royalty stability. That's what you need. You need to know what the rules will be today, tomorrow, and the day after that, because the decisions you're making are going to impact your companies and those that work for you for weeks, for months, for years to come. And I want to make this commitment to you. As long as you are so invested in this province and so contributing to this province, and as long as we have a say in it, you will get royalty stability. You'll get a government that understands the importance of people knowing the rules as they make significant investments. Number two, the second part of our plan to keep the advantage is that we know we have to work even harder to create the right business climate in Saskatchewan for this particular industry. The Fraser Institute's 2009 Global Petroleum Survey ranks Saskatchewan well ahead of its main competitors, whose initials are Alberta and British Columbia. And Saskatchewan ranked 17th out of 133 jurisdictions around the world, second in Canada in terms of the investment climate favorable to the industry. We know we always want to be better. We've heard directly from industry about red tape. We've heard directly from industry about the need to make sure there's timely processing of permits. And while our government has embarked on a plan to reduce the size of government by 15% over 4 years, and we're on track to do it, I had said to Bill Boyd, as the Minister of Energy and Resources, we are going to make the investments we need in his ministry and provide the resources that we need in his ministry to achieve effective permit processing, to achieve the efficacious processing of the work that you need to have done by government so you can go ahead and do the work that you need to do. And the manifestation of that most recently is PRIME, the Process Renewal and Infrastructure Management Enhancement Project. The key benefit of that is that it will include reduced turnaround times for licensing, streamlined business process, more accurate and timely information, fewer errors, we hope, and we will be aligned with the key business processes with our New West Partnership allies in British Columbia and Alberta, because remember, the New West has come together. The three half provinces out west have formed this New West Partnership, and we want to make sure that it's a seamless place for people to do business. Number three, the third thing we're going to do to keep the advantage. The government of Saskatchewan and all of its agents will do whatever we can to defend, to proudly defend this industry. We will do that with respect to our engagement in the United States, which we've tried to increase as a government. We will do that with respect to our engagement around the world, which we've tried to do as a government. And we will do that with respect to our engagement with the rest of the country and with the federal government as they're looking at different environmental and energy policies. Sometimes it seems as if some of our neighbors in other parts of Canada are embarrassed or even maybe a little ashamed that this country is an emerging world oil power. I hear the rhetoric, and I'm sure you hear the rhetoric about the industry itself. Ladies and gentlemen, this country needs to be proud of the fact that we are an emerging oil power, that the largest conventional play, according to the U.S. Geological Survey we're in the middle of right now, that we have the oil sands potential, obviously, on our side of the border and a huge industry on the Alberta side of the border. There isn't another country on earth that can say, we will sell you our oil and you will buy from this country. You're going to be buying from a place whose national government, whose provincial governments, and whose industry are doing more per capita, per investment dollar, than almost any other place in the world to reduce the environmental footprint of the activities of the oil and gas sector. What other country can make that claim in South America or the Middle East? And so we need all of us in government, federal and provincial, we need to be able to take that stand when we're, especially in the United States, when we're engaged with that country, and when we're engaged with other parts of this country, to say nobody is doing more on these issues with respect to the environment than these governments, than these companies, and Canada needs to be proud of this industry and understand that we are a world leader today in a world that needs energy security, and it's something we should be aspiring to for decades to come. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to do these things for your industry because of all that the industry does for us. We want to offer stability. We want to offer a reduction in red tape, yet still sustainable development in the province. We want to welcome a place where everyone feels they can come to meetings. It's just been so rainy that they're just trying to find a place indoors that we might cloud up at any moment. Here's what we ask of you in return as I close. We'd ask that you'd accept our thanks. We would ask as well that you do everything you can do as an industry to deploy and employ Saskatchewan resources, to use Saskatchewan goods and services and suppliers as you continue to build your interests here in the province of Saskatchewan. We have a great industry in Saskatchewan. We'd like to obviously see it grow. We'd like to see it benefit from increased investments that we know are coming. We have the Saskatchewan advantage today. Let's resolve to never give it up. Thanks for the chance for me to be here today.